Hello. So, right down to it, this Thursday, it was revealed in an article by the New York Times that Palestinian prisoners from Gaza are being systematically raped by Israel in a concentration camp, and some prisoners have even been literally raped to death. This is not an exaggeration, it's reported directly in a mainstream source, pretty much the most mainstream source you could ever possibly get, the New York Times. Though the New York Times, being heavily biased towards Israel, of course, tried to bury these facts very deep within a larger article, so they don't come up until like 15 paragraphs in. Here is the article in the New York Times called Inside Esther Tayman, the base where Israel detains Gazans. This is unfortunately a paywalled article, so when I go in here, as you're going to see, it's paywalled. So I can't actually read it in full right now, but the most important parts have been posted to Twitter, screenshots of them. So here we see, wearing nothing but a diaper, Mr. Bakr said, he was brought to a separate room to be questioned. The interrogators accused him of Hamas membership and showed him photographs of militants to see if he could identify them. They also asked him about the whereabouts of hostages as well as a senior Hamas leader who lived near Mr. Bakr's family home. When Mr. Bakr denied any connection to the group or knowledge of the pictured men, he was beaten repeatedly, he said. Mr. Al-Hamlawi, the senior nurse, said a female officer had ordered two soldiers to lift him up and press his rectum against the metal stick that was fixed to the ground. Mr. Al-Hamlawi said the stick penetrated his rectum for more than 5 seconds, causing him to bleed and leaving him with unbearable pain. So these are, by the way, not even people who could even remotely be accused of terrorism, just random people who have since been released. One of them even being a nurse from a hospital who was detained without charge and brought to a fucking concentration camp and then anally raped with a metal rod. For all of the completely unproven bullshit that Israel has been spamming everywhere about supposed Hamas mass rape, isn't it weird how that, of course, like everything that Israel said, has turned out to be nothing but projection? They are the ones engaging in mass rape here. Mass anal rape. It gets worse though. Next paragraph. A leaked draft of the UNRWA report detailed an interview that gave a similar account. It cited a 41-year-old detainee who said that interrogators made me sit on something like a hot metal stick and it felt like fire, and also said that another detainee died after they put the electric stick up his anus. That is an account from a witness. No, someone who can't be framed as a terrorist because they've since been released, clearly stating they literally witnessed someone being anal raped to death with an electric stick. Are there any words for this? Mr. Al-Hamlawi recalled being forced to sit in a chair wired with electricity. He said he was shocked so often that after initially urinating uncontrollably, he then stopped urinating for several days. Mr. Al-Hamlawi said he, too, had been forced to wear nothing but a diaper to stop him from soiling the floor. Ibrahim Shaheen, a truck driver detained in early December for nearly 3 months, said he was shocked roughly half a dozen times while sitting in a chair. Officers accused him of concealing information about the location of dead hostages. Literally, Israel is systematically raping random Gazans anally, in some cases to death, and also torturing them with electricity. This is what Israel is. This is what the Israeli state is. They are so much worse than what they accuse others of being. And make no mistake, it's not just Netanyahu, it's not just the government. This is what Israeli society is, and this is why it has to be dismantled. Just had to make this video really quick because the New York Times buried this deep into this article rather than making it the headline. Can you imagine if the reverse, or anything even close to this, was done by Palestinians to Israelis? It would be the headline who would get its own article. But because it's Israelis doing it to Palestinians, and by the way, Palestinians have never done anything like this to Israelis, they just make that shit up. But because it's the other way around, because it's Israelis doing it to Palestinians, they just title the article Inside the Base where Palestinians are mistreated, or whatever it's called, rather than making the title like Palestinians systemically anally raped by Israel. Palestinians systemically anally raped to death by Israel. That is what a remotely honest title would be. That's all that I wanted to say. I've informed you guys of the important stuff. Now you know, at least some of you now know. Spread it as much as you can. More people need to know about this. This needs to be the top headline on every single news site in the world. If they were even remotely honest, if there was any sort of proportionality here. Because holy fuck. Systemic anal rape in a concentration camp. What more can be said about Israel?